Right, moving on with the Chariot build. Um, I think last time I mentioned that I was thinking of doing this as a more of a real vehicle rather than an exact copy of the one that was in the show. I'm not a fan of Lost in Space really. I like the vehicles, but I'm not never been a fan of the show, and so I've no real desire to make something that looks like a slavish copy of what appeared in the show. And as much as I like some of the design aspects of the Irwin Allen stuff, you know, with the really strong colours. I mean, this thing's supposed to have an orange floor inside and things like that. I think in this case, I'm going to go down the route of making this look like a real vehicle. In a sense, it is a real vehicle. It was based on a Snowcat chassis, and with a sort of custom top. And so, you know, I want to make it look like it could actually be a vehicle that might sort of exist in reality. So to that end, I'm gonna radically change the interior. The layout here is pretty much how the stock kit is. You know, you've got an instrument panel at the front. You've got this piece, presumably that covers the engine, in the front here, and then there's a base at the back where the robot sits. Now, again, might be sacrilege to some, but I'm leaving the robot out of this altogether. And in fact, this piece isn't going to be involved. I mean, I may use it for something else, but what I'm actually thinking of doing, because looking at the seats are not dissimilar to the seats you see on the deck of the Enterprise in the original Star Trek. And as seats go, they'd be quite flimsy. I mean, they're great for a TV show where people are just climbing in and out, and it's supposed to look futuristic. But practical seats in a vehicle, not really, I don't think. So I'm going to leave the seats. I'm going to change the seats to make them look more realistic. And whereas this was made as a kind of family runabout for the show, I'm actually going to turn this into more like a survey vehicle. So I'm going to take these two mounting points. In fact, I'm going to take all the mounting points out because the rear seats are going to be mounted differently. But these are going, and I'm going to turn the rear half of the vehicle into like a sort of cargo area. More like you'd see on a typical survey vehicle in maybe Antarctica, or you know, out in the deserts or somewhere like that. So that's the plan anyway. So quite a radical rethink there. The other thing is I've put the instrument panel together, and just sort of put it in place just to see how the fit is. This part here is actually taller than the instrument panel. Now I think that's for the fact that it actually has this. I'm not sure what this piece is actually. Is it a gun? Is it a scanner? I don't know what it is. That fits on the top there like that. However, if you look at it from the side there, you can see the step there, which makes it much higher than the instrument panel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce the depth of this by, let's see if we can see that. I've drawn a line on there, and you can see a line on the bottom. That's going to be cut off, which will bring this top surface to the level of this instrument panel. And then I'm not using this device here. I might use it for something else. And I'm going to plate this, and quite often you see these vehicles, they have like a quilted coating on them to cut down the noise from the engine. So I might look at doing something like that for that. The last video I discussed about using the photo etch, and if I can get this out, there you go. the photo etch, you can see this has been fitted to the instrument panel there. Now, because these are etched through so that you've got there's going to be decals on them to allow for the sort of instruments, but they're designed to be lit from the back. So if you look on the back side of it, you can see that I've cut slots out, which bring that up a little bit closer, so maybe that'll pick it up. Not sure whether the focus is set correctly on this camera, to be honest. But you can see those cutouts in the back. So ideally, you want to cut those out, and then these are going to be backlit with LEDs, which will make the light shine through the front and illuminate the instruments. So that's pretty much as the kit part comes, and then obviously modified for the paragraphics etch. There's various other bits that have been attached. There's what looks like a radio attached to there. That's not actually lit. I did cut a hole in the back, but it's not actually lit, that piece. There's another panel there in the end of here, which if you look in the back, that's been hollowed out in the back to take lights. And this one, which I was working on in the last video, that was cut out at the back. I think you can sort of see that now, and you can see the grill down there. I'll probably put some parts behind that just to make it look like there's a bit of machinery or something behind there, part of the engine or something. So that part's finished. A few other bits I did. The wheels that I'm going to use these as they came, and you can't really see them once it's on its chassis, so I'm not going to worry about the fact that they're sort of quite hollow at the back. You just fit these tubular parts in, and then they fit to the metal axles. The two driving wheels, they're hollow in the center. I may cover that with a little nut or something just to make it look a bit more realistic. I don't know what the real vehicle looks like. I could look that up and find out. But as running gear goes, I mean, they're okay. They're not nothing spectacular, but they're going to be quite heavily weathered as well, so you're not really going to notice once the whole thing's on and the tracks are on. But the idea being that this will look a lot more realistic. I'm thinking along the lines of the kind of stuff you see military modelers doing. So, you know, the likes of your Tamiya and Dragon vehicles. The disadvantage is because it's 1/24th scale, there's not that many accessories you can use, unlike if it was 1/35th. So most of the stowage and stuff I'm going to have to scratch build. I'll have a route through my Spurs boxes. There may be some bits and pieces I can use. It's still going to be fairly futuristic, so I can create some sort of futuristic looking sort of survey equipment or something to go in the back. I'm thinking more along the lines of the 2001 Moebius, you know, the way it's got those sort of crates and surveying equipment and cameras and stuff inside. And the fact that I'm going to lose two of the seats, well, you've got two seats in the front for the driver and the co-driver, and I might even put a bench seat in the back here. I'll have a look what I've got in amongst all my bits and pieces. And then there'll be a bulkhead and then the stowage at the back. And obviously there's doors here, but the doors could be used to access the stowage. So it all kind of makes sense. The other idea I've had is on the roof. I may modify these. Well, in fact, I might get rid of a couple of these antennas and build a slightly different one that kind of looks like one of those satellite antennas, you know, that you see on tops of TV vans and things like that. Something along those lines. I'll leave the dome. I quite like the little observation dome on the top, and I may texture the top with some tread plate. You know, that would be more likely to be on the top of a vehicle if you're going to climb on top of it. So I'll look at that. I've not really had the main top piece out of the plastic bag yet. That's the canopy, and it's all one piece. So I'm going to look at working on that at some point. One thing I was disappointed with was I hadn't really paid much attention to the sort of smaller parts, and I was looking through. I was talking in the other video about lighting up the front with spotlights, and I found that the spotlights for the roof and the underside are actually solid plastic, which I've never been a fan of. I know Tamiya used to do all this to their tanks. You know, they never gave you clear lenses, and they suggested you painted the front of the lamp white, which to me looks ridiculous. And I know there's quite a lot of aftermarket parts now available for sort of lights and things like that. I'll have a route through my Spurs box, because I'm pretty sure I've got some lights from maybe like a rally car, maybe a Mini or something like that, with quite a lot of spotlights in, clear parts. So I'll have a rummage and see what I can come up with for that. But by and large, most of these smaller parts I'm probably not going to be using anyway. I'll either be scratch building or adapting the ones that are here. There's a few pieces that I'll use, you know, the boarding ladders and things like that, but I'll have a think about that and see what else I come up with. So it's going to look like the Chariot sort of in its shape, but it's going to be very different from the kind of stuff that you see everyone else turning out, which is no bad thing. I mean, you know, there's loads and loads of people out there that have made you know, really good sort of replicas from the show, and it's nice to do something a bit different, a little bit more creativity, and still keep that look about it, but not slavishly copy something. There's no real draw for me in doing that. I do like to ring the changes a little bit in things as I go along. But there's plenty of pieces. I've got loads and loads of spare parts as well that I can use. So hopefully it'll start to take shape. So I think by the next video you'll see that the interior's started to look more like I was talking about, and not like the interior of the one from the show. Okay, so thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for the next installment.